Okay, so we've got a thawed Cornish hen. We've taken out the inside, the giblets, and what we're going to do is turn it on its back. We don't want to cut the skin, so on the breast here, we're going to just make a little incision so we can get underneath the meat at the bone, and then we're going to slide our thumb in there. And I'm left-handed, so it's going to look a little different. And we're going to just push the meat off the bone. And that meat will just separate off the bone, stay in place. And then you're going to work your way over the breastbone with your finger to separate the meat and the bone from the skin. And you're going to just all the way in there, you're going to feel it. And then fairly soon what you're going to want to do is just at the opening here, cut the skin away from the meat so that you can let the meat flap loose. Again, you don't want to cut the skin open though. So then we're going to need to flip it over, and we're going to need to take the meat off the backside and the ribs. So again, we're going to cut a little incision here on the meat to the bone, all the way around. You can cut the Pope's nose off if you want. Kind of looks like most Popes. So we're going to cut that meat away from the ribs, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just stick our thumb in there and separate the meat from the bone. And there's some places where you're going to want to cut it. Now, on the backside, the meat is really stuck to that breastbone, so you're going to want to be real careful and not cut the skin when you separate that meat from the breastbone. And again, just get your thumbs down in there. And you can sort of peel the skin back as you open things up. Now you're going to find fairly early on in here that the leg bone is attached to the ribs, backbone. So just cut that a little bit, and then you're going to pop that thigh bone. There it goes. You can do the same thing on the other side. Just do a little incision right at the joint there, and it should pop out fairly easily. Okay. So now we've got the legs detached from the body. What I do is I just do a cut on that thigh bone and then push the leg through that, and you'll keep all the meat in there, and you'll get rid of the bones. Once you get down to the leg bone, thigh bone joint, you're going to pull the thigh bone off. We're keeping all our bones for stock. And then you'll need to cut a little more on the leg side of that thigh bone leg joint. You want to be careful not to cut the skin because it sometimes gets caught up in there. You don't realize it's there. So again, make that circle between your thumb and your first finger and just push everything through there. It'll strip that meat off. We get down here to the very end, and there's our leg bone. Turn it back inside out. You've got a hollow leg to stuff. Same thing on the other side. Circle the top to release the tendons and let the bone start to go. Slide it down. Expose that thigh leg joint. Do the same thing. Cut it lightly. Pop it off. There's a tendon in there that you're going to want to get. Same thing. Keep the skin down so you don't cut it. And then just circle the circumference of that leg bone just below the leg thigh joint. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to push it through. And that leg split. Okay. So get it off. There's our second leg bone. And I think we're recording. Okay, so we're going back to the ribs. And you're going to just work that meat. Don't be afraid to use the knife to cut it if it's sticking on somewhere, or if there's a tendon or a piece of cartilage. Now as you get more of the bone out, that skin will roll back on the chicken. Can you see that? And then we're going to just keep coming around here with the breastbone. We're going to just keep separating it all with our fingers. The oysters are in there. I want to keep those, but separate them off the bone. There's a wishbone in there somewhere, I just felt it. Okay, so I'm getting all this. Now we've got a rib cage that we need to get the bone off. Watch that wishbone because it's sharp and it'll stab you. And pull the breasts off. They're stuck in a couple places. There they go. And we got some cartilage there. Just keep working it down. Working it down. Now the wings are stuck on there, so the same thing as we did with the legs. You want to separate that wing bone from the rib cage and backbone. Sometimes you get lost when it's inside out. Okay, there's the other wing. I'm going to leave the bones in the wings, so we're not going to worry about boning the wings, but everything else, that'll be the only bone in this thing. So, watch the wishbone. Okay, there's most of that. A couple little pieces in here. There's a wishbone right there, so I'm just going to cut around it a little bit to make it easier to come out. Make sure you don't cut the skin. Okay, got it. Again, we're saving all of these to go in the stock. Here's what I suspect is probably the last of the backbone. And just cut it all. Meat should just sort of fall away from it. And some breast stuck on there. Okay, this is the top part of the wing, so I'm going to do the same thing. Cut that tendon joint, and then if you can, get the tendon out because that's going to be tough. And there we go. We got a boneless Cornish hen. We just need to stuff it, and it'll take its shape back, and we're done.